following podcast is being brought to you by the Defy Life Podcast Network.
Maybe we can still heal you. Why? So you could just lock me up? No. Just bury me in the ocean with my ancestors that jumped from the ships. Because they knew death was better than bondage.
Oh, you think darkness is your ally? You merely adopted the dark. I was born in it, molded by it. I didn't see the light until I was already a man. By then it was nothing to me but blinding. The shadows betray you because they belong to me.
In the hell do you think you are?
Okay, it's not working out. I'm gonna need the suit back.
For how long?
Forever. Yeah, let's
No, please.
Let's have it.
You don't understand. This is all I have. I'm nothing without this suit.
If you're nothing without this suit, then you shouldn't have it. Okay?
So Oz, this week we will be continuing the March Madness Massacre that we started. Last week we did the round of 64, and we had a few that we disagreed on. And the ones that we disagreed on, we left in the hands of the audience.
Twitter posters.
Yes, I put up some Twitter polls, and I know how active you are on Twitter and how it's just, you can't go an hour without checking your Twitter. So, Oz, let me ask you, have you seen the results? Before I go over them, before we set the table, do any of that, we're going to jump right into our March Madness tournament, or March Madness Massacre Tournament. So, Oz, have you seen the results? And if you have, are you surprised by them? And if you have not, what do you think they're going to be? Since you claim to have a pulse on the people.
I have seen most of the results. People just don't know or understand Cypher's powers. I feel like they did a really good job on Hawk and Lobo. Those are the only ones that really stand out to me. We can go over the rest of them. That's fine.
Okay. So very quickly, I'm going to go over who has advanced in the round to the round of 32. This week, we're going to cover the round of 32 and our Sweet 16. So next week, we will be doing our Elite 8 and our Final 4. Okay. So the round of 32. Before the poll results, Thor defeated Vandal Savage. Sinestro and Luke Cage went to a poll, and I will go over that result. Low Key defeated Catwoman. Jon Stewart beat Green Goblin. Batman beat Taskmaster. Mr. Fantastic and Reverse Flash, they went to a poll. I'll go over that. Magneto beat Black Canary. Dick Grayson and Rachel Summers went to a poll. And I just want to give a shout out to all the listeners. I know you all came through for me, as always, from my man Dick Grayson. Thanos.
If Rachel Summers and Dick Grayson actually had a fight, it would not be a fight.
Okay, well, it doesn't matter. It's about the people. And
the people. It's about the people, and I think the people. Again,
go ahead. Say something about the people. Go ahead.
Well, people are just super more familiar with Dick Grayson.
Nah, man, don't always be making no excuses, dude.
Okay? Tell me who Rachel Summers is, then, sir.
That's Scott's daughter.
Tell me Scott and whose daughter? Scott and whose daughter, and what are Rachel's powers, and give me her background story. That's and because I can say the same for Nightwing, and you'd be like, oh my god, that's Robin, blah 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 blah. But tell me Rachel's story. Like, tell me who her parents are.
We don't have time for that.
This could take 30 seconds.
It could, but we don't have time for that. Dr. Doom
So wait, time out. Excuse me. Again, so like I said, I just feel like people don't really know who Rachel Summers is.
Awesome. Dr. Doom defeated Emma Frost. Green Arrow and Cypher went to a poll. Listen, if you were foolish enough to choose somebody that you claim the people don't know about, then you shouldn't be surprised when they lose. And I don't know why you would even bring them into
a
matchup like that. And when you claim to know that the people don't know who he is, when I'm sure the people do know who he is, but maybe they just don't like him.
That is not a matter of being foolish.
But let's just continue.
Let's go back. Hold on. The original question that was posed to me was, Uncle Oz, give me a list of your 16 favorite characters. That's it. We're putting these. No. The question that was posed to me. Now, if I don't know the parameters better, and if I'd have known it wasn't a trick question,
if I'd have known the rules, that would have been fine. Blue Marvel loses to Wonder Woman, so Wonder Woman moves on. Mr. Terrific defeats Kingpin. Aquaman defeats Poison Ivy. Captain America defeats Black Adam. Mystique defeats Lex Luthor. Spider-Man over Saturn Girl. I don't know what that one was about either. Kraven the Hunter and Superman. Superman moves on. Lady Shiva past Lady Deathstrike. Wolverine past the Joker. Invisible Woman past Hal Jordan. Deathstroke past Bullseye. Franklin Richards and Constantine went to a poll.
Invisible Woman, of course, will pass Hal Jordan.
What?
You said Invisible Woman passes Hal Jordan.
Yeah, I said that like 2 people ago. Franklin Richards and Constantine goes to a poll result. Professor X over the Flash. General Zod over Psylocke. Black Panther over Harley Quinn. Cyborg past Dark Phoenix. Hela past Black Lightning. Mr. Sinister and Talia al Ghul goes to a poll. Darkseid over Venom. Storm past Gorilla Grodd. And Hulk and Lobo. Now to go over the poll results. These are all decided by the people, for the people. Sinestro and Luke Cage. Uncle Oz selected Luke Cage. I picked Sinestro, and the people have spoken. And the people with 60% chose Sinestro. So Sinestro moves on to face Thor in our round of 32. Mr. Fantastic versus Reverse Flash. Oz chose Mr. Fantastic. I chose Reverse Flash. The people have spoken, and the people have chosen Mr. Fantastic with 56% of the vote. He will face Batman in the next round. Dick Grayson versus Rachel Summers. Oz says you all don't know who Rachel Summers is, so that's why you voted for Dick Grayson, because he won with 68% of the vote.
And when I say you all, I mean most people don't, and as proven by Regular Scott not being able to answer the question.
There you go. So he just said that we don't know our comics. The next poll.
I said most people, I'll say to all of our listeners, I appreciate you guys listening, but I'm going to tell you guys right now, Regular Scott does not know his comics at all. Okay, he knows a couple comics, but that's it.
And Green Arrow in Cypher. Green Arrow wins with 92%. What do you have to say about that one?
I'm not the.
Actually, that's okay.
You said we don't
Mr.
have time
Sinister
for that, right?
and Talia al Ghul.
Okay.
Mr. Sinister wins with 51%.
Yeah, of course.
And let's see. Franklin Richards versus Constantine with 52 votes. 52% said Franklin Richards.
Yeah, of course.
And the Incredible Hulk versus Lobo. 74% went with the Incredible Hulk.
Yeah.
So, our round of 32 is set. We have Thor and Sinestro, Loki versus Jon Stewart, Batman and Mr. Fantastic, Magneto and Dick Grayson, Thanos and Dr. Doom, Green Arrow, Wonder Woman, Mr. Terrific and Aquaman, Captain America and Mystique, Spider-Man and Superman, Lady Shiva and Wolverine, Invisible Woman, Deathstroke, Franklin Richards and Constantine. Franklin Richards and Professor X, General Zod and Black Panther, Cyborg and Hela, Mr. Sinister and Darkseid, and Storm and Hulk. And that will be our round of 32. And we will do that in our round of 16. But before we get into that, allow me to set the table. This is Take a Knee for Marvel vs. DC. I am your host, Regular Scott. I am here with my co-host, the comic connoisseur, the mighty Ozzy Killmonger. Oz, what's going on?
What's up, good people? How are you?
And you can find us on Twitter at Knee4Marvel vs. DC. That's the number 4. You can email us at Knee4Marvel vs. DC at GoDefyLife.com. You can also download our podcast anywhere you get your podcasts, or you can find them at DefyLifePods.com. You can also check out the gear at Defy Life Gear. Anywhere our podcast, like I said, Apple Podcasts, Spreaker, Radio Public, TuneIn, iHeartRadio, anywhere you listen to them, we're there. And we are in the middle of our March Madness Massacre Tournament. We just reviewed everything. It should be a good one. I think the round of 32 is going to be good. I think there will be a lot more disagreements, and a lot more of these will be left to the people. The round of 32, though, we're probably going to have to figure out a way to agree on some of them because we got to get to that round of 16.
I agree.
So let's get to the news tidbits. I got a few of those, and then we'll get started. First bit of news: Kevin Smith has apparently heard a rumor that Charlie Cox will be reprising his role as Daredevil in Spider-Man 3.
Oh, that'd be cool.
So, what are your thoughts on Charlie Cox? Should he reprise his role, or should we recast?
It depends on what they have in store for him. If it's actual Daredevil, or if it's him as the lawyer, we'll see. I don't mind him at all.
Okay. Booster Gold is a movie that WB has been rumored to have a script ready for. And they are looking for a big name to play him. And one of the names was Ryan Reynolds. Apparently, he has turned down the offer to play it. And now they are looking at Chris Pratt to play Booster Gold. What do you think about Chris Pratt as Booster Gold? And do you think he would work as a movie, or should he be a Disney Plus show? I mean, not Disney, but HBO Max show.
He should probably be a Disney Universe show. Series show, and a movie. I'm just not that interested. Me personally, I'm just not interested in Booster Gold. Chris Pratt.
Well, yeah. I'm sure if it was Cypher, you'd be excited though.
Right. Yes. Chris Pratt. They want someone who's. I know Ryan Reynolds was a natural thing because they want that sarcastic person that Booster Gold is, but there's not a lot that turns me on about that at all. I mean, there's a lot of possibilities with it, just getting into the whole Legion of Superheroes thing and that kind of stuff. But other than that, it's just like nothing else is like really that awesome to me.
Okay. Rosario Dawson has been rumored for the role in Mandalorian Season 2. Do you know what role that is, Oz?
You cut out on me. What'd you say? She's a rumor for which role?
For a role in the Mandalorian in Season 2. Ahsoka Tano.
Oh, Ahsoka. Like Ahsoka.
I don't watch the Star Wars cartoons. So
well, that's like that's funny. I think that is
it's Anakin's apprentice.
It was Vader's apprentice Anakin before he turned. Yeah. She was supposed to have been killed off during the Great Purge, or Vader felt remorse for her and let her live, or she chose not to be a Jedi, but still has the Jedi training. There's a lot of interesting possibilities with her. That's some straight makeup for her, though, and CGI stuff. But wow, bring her into it. That's crazy.
It's not that crazy.
Well, it is a little weird because you'll have these, unless she's going to wind up training Baby Yoda in some way.
Why does she have to train Baby Yoda?
Well, because Baby Yoda isn't being trained properly by a Jedi like he should be. So the only other answer for him to be able to like get his like force abilities or natural to his species is to have some kind of Jedi training, which an easy fix for that would be Ahsoka, even though she's not. I think she's not a Jedi anymore, but she still knows the training.
And what species is Yoda?
I don't know what species I forgot what he's called, what their species is called, but they're like they're super rare, super rare.
Okay. Wonder Woman 1984 is considering being released straight to digital amidst all the virus talk.
Well, there's this Universal or some big film whatever production company. They were talking about like for like $20 a month or $30 a month, you get the access to these released movies, but you can watch them in your home. And I was just like, man, that might be the wave of the future with all this stuff. So that'd be a shame, man, because I would be interested in seeing that, but it does fit to a direct-to-video kind of thing, I bet.
Okay.
Yeah, that's sad. That's sad. This coronavirus is really it's super disruptive.
Yep. Who should be the main character? This is a Twitter poll put up by Suit Up Podcast, and it asks, who should be the main character of the X-Men when they finally enter the Marvel Cinematic Universe? I'll read the four choices, and then Oz, you can tell me who you personally would pick, and then who you would pick of the four. The four choices he put up, or that they put up, was Rogue, Storm, Professor X, or Cyclops. Oz, do you agree that it should be one of those four, or do you think it should be somebody else?
I guess he wanted to get away from Wolverine. Yeah, those four will be fine. I feel Cyclops could be replaced with somebody, but I'm not sure who. But I like the thought of Rogue. Just leads into a whole bunch of other stories, but I like the idea of Professor X and Storm.
So you think it should be Storm?
Kind of, I do. Well, yeah, because like she should get a movie.
Get a movie as what?
Storm should have a movie like other people have their own single one-offs, because she's got a story to be told. Like,
who's got a one-off besides Wolverine?
Dude, Captain Marvel had a one-off. What are you talking about?
She's not an X-Men though.
Let me make myself clear. Sorry. Storm deserves a movie like Captain America, Iron Man, all those folks. Spider-Man, whatever have you. She deserves her own movie too. To be clear.
Okay. All right. That's all the news tidbits I got, because we got a packed show. I got a few ones got to go, and I put up a old ones got to go that I had from I had asked on this show from myself and Oz, and I got a lot of feedback on that one from Twitter, so I'll go over that. And yeah, so we're gonna go ahead and play a quick commercial break. Pay a couple.
I thought I was gonna get a chance to put who I thought would be in the X-Men, but okay, cool.
Well, yeah, that's what I asked you to do, and you said Storm.
Right, you said Storm from the pile that they picked, but I never got to do my own pile that you said I could do. But that's all good. You said we got a packed show, so you must be in a rush. You must be like in a big rush to do something or something. But let's get to the show.
Okay, well, who do you think it was? Because I thought in the midst of all that you had given that answer.
No. Because the way that you had said was, of these four, you can pick who you think of these four, and then you can get a chance to pick your four. But obviously, you have another agenda, so it's all good. What's up?
Well, go ahead. Who do you
No,
think?
no, it's good, man. We got you said we got a packed show. So underlay.
No, please, enlighten me. Who do you think should be the key player in the next X-Men movie?
Oh! Well, I appreciate you, regular Scott. I appreciate the opportunity. Thank you. I would still. I like the idea of Storm still. Wolverine still is great to me, but a younger Wolverine. Two more though that I like that could possibly have some good stuff. Like yeah, I feel like you could probably get away with doing a real good. You could have, like Iceman never has had his chance. I like Iceman, Storm, Wolverine, and thinking, yeah, I can't think of another. But I like those three because they're pretty diverse, and their stories leading to other avenues too. So that's my thought. So
you heard it here first. We're gonna play a quick commercial break, and then we're gonna go to our one's gotta go. And then we're going to jump right into the March Madness Massacre. Get our break out the way early, and then the rest of the show is just going to be bam, bam, bam. It's just going to be action-packed. It's going to be a massacre. We'll be right back.
Hey, Siri.
Hey, how may I help you?
Play the Relationship Status Podcast.
Playing the Relationship Status Podcast.
You know, I would ask him, like, what are you doing? You know, where are you going with this? What are you trying? And he really didn't have, like, a real answer.
Okay.
So I didn't feel like we were going to be compatible later on down the line.
I think that goes back to something I've often heard and think myself, that men date women thinking they're never going to change, and women date men
thinking that they are.
Thinking that they can change them.
Relationship Status. New episode every Monday at 12 noon on Defy Life Network.
And we are back. Make sure you are checking out the Relationship Status Podcast. You can find that and every other podcast from the Defy Life Network at defylifepods.com. Oz, do you have any relationship status advice for the people?
No. Just love the one you're with, man. Appreciate them.
But what if they're not with anybody?
And love yourself.
All right. That does nothing for anybody.
It does everything for everybody. Self-love is the first love you'll ever have. If you don't love yourself, you will never know how to love another person properly.
The first love you ever have is from your mother.
That's not true. The first love that you're cognizant of is self-awareness and self-love. 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 Not your parents giving you love, but like being as a functioning human, not as a child, but as a functioning human, you need to have these tools: self-love and self-awareness and self-respect. If you have those three things,
you got it all.
Everything else works out. It works out for other people and everything else. Self-awareness, self-love, self-respect.
All day.
You have those. You have no need for greed. You have no need for war. You have no need to beat somebody. You have literally beat somebody or beat someone in a game. You're content with yourself. So
respect yourself.
That's how it goes, man.
All right. So I put up a one's got to go on Twitter. It's an old one that we had done on the show where I chose. It was Storm, Wonder Woman, Invisible Woman, and Supergirl. One's got to go, ladies edition. And got some good feedback. Our good friend JD, who you can hear him and myself on the Showdown Pro Wrestling podcast, cheap plug, said Sue Storm, which I was very surprised at because he's someone who does enjoy the First Family.
Mm-hmm.
JVD of the Villains Demand said Supergirl. She is the only hero listed who isn't original and falls in line with the list of copycat sidekicks.
There you go.
Ghost of the Stratosphere said Wonder Woman. Great cinematic character, but has never been interesting in comics. Doctor of Doomonomics said Supergirl. Alex Lincoln, Invisible Woman. This is my rebirth. Sue Storm.
Ooh,
TW
Sue.
at Flashpoint Bat. Storm.
Man, Sue's turning invisible.
Just Storm. So I had to ask why. Why Storm? Because it was the first one that said Storm. Nothing against her, really. Main reason is she is by far my least favorite of these four. But overall, X-Men have always been one of my least favorite teams in comics. So, I get that then. If you're not an X-Men fan, you're not going to be a Storm fan. Makes sense. Burton Coit.
I dig it. Storm has always been again, if they took the sum of her parts, like her origin story to where she's now, my God, dude. Jesus.
Burton Coit said, wow. Sue Storm, the mother of fantastic history, first Marvel family. Shocked that she's even being looked at. The best female comic character of all four.
Yeah, she's up there strong. She's a powerhouse, dude.
So then he said, I guess I'll have to go with Supergirl. Minus her show pushing through, not all that exciting, minus Batman versus Batman Superman series.
I've always operated off of the principle that Supergirl's been dead ever since Crisis. So I just remember Brainiac 5 crying, sad, so she's always been dead to me since then. So I know they've been resurrecting her and all sorts of other stuff, Rebirth, Convergence, 52, whatever. She just is just like, I like that whole thing about her being a rip-off character.
Mike Wallace said Supergirl was never very compelling.
She's not.
So, good little conversation piece. Like I said, follow us on Twitter at @NE4 Marvel vs. DC. That's the number 4. I put up all types of stuff. One's got a goes all the time. Twitter polls. I put another thing up that said that Man of Steel is one of the most underrated, if not the most underrated comic book movie of all time. At me, let me know. I want all the smoke because I stand by that. Some of the best cinematography, some of the best cinematic moments in comic book.
Oh, that is horrible,
dude. The scene of him trying to fly is absolutely beautiful.
Oh God, that is terrible.
Like, you don't have to like the movie, but some of those shots in that movie are absolutely gorgeous.
Dude, I like the scene when he was trying to fly from the first Superman movie. It just, when that scene came from Man of Steel, it's like, oh, kind of similar to the Super. All right, I get you. Really? I feel like I know why you like this movie a little more than other comic book movies.
I can't wait to hear this. Why is that?
Really?
Yeah, really.
Now again, this is me not having a pulse on the people, but I feel like a small aspect of you liking this Man of Steel movie are the religious overtones of the movie too.
That's actually one of the least parts I like about it. I'm not a fan of Superman being Jesus.
I said a small. I don't know the people. I just said a small.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of the Superman as Jesus comparison.
I guess least and small don't mean the same thing, so it's fine. It's okay. Bizarro world, hey, me Bizarro. Wait, me not Bizarro. But yeah, I just like, there's just some parts of it that I just thought was just ultra cheese. Like him breaking Zod's neck in that building.
See, I like that, man.
I did not, because that was, there's just so much unrealistic stuff. And granted, they're aliens with superhuman powers that look like white dudes. I get it. But like all that heat vision that he was doing, man, they would have suffered burns just from being near that heat. It's just so weird to us. Like, what the? And I would have thought that he would have did it on a mass scale, not just like 2 people or whatever. It was just very. it got to
see
be
that
a
made it
little,
more intimate to me. The two people, the family, made it more intimate to me.
No, I get it, but it just like.
And then the whole thing of that being the last bit of Krypton he had.
Oh, I trust me. My heart was sad where he could have been like, General Zod, how's my dad? Your dad was awesome before I betrayed him. I know there could have been.
I'm not. But see, like that's
No. But I what everyone has said about it is like it was very sad that it happened because he destroyed the last remaining Kryptonian, and I get it.
To save this new world, these people he doesn't even know. Like that's a Superman thing to do.
But that's not true. But see, that's not true though. He had more of a connection with those Earthlings than he did with those Kryptonians.
No, he did, but he wanted to know more about the Kryptonians.
Right. Yes, and guess what? Here's the thing for you to think about. Him wanting to know more about those Kryptonians it's such an abstract thing. It's like me wanting to go know what it was to be from Ghana or Nigeria or something like that. Like, you know,
and what would be wrong with that?
There's nothing wrong with that, but my roots are still...
it wouldn't be the same, though, because your dad is not from Ghana or Nigeria.
Right, dude, but...
So it wouldn't be the same at all.
Well, it is the same because...
It's not.
And all right, thank you. You have your opinion. Now let me finish my statement. Thanks a lot. Thanks. It's the same because he was raised as an Earthling from basically, 3 months up to his adulthood. All he is known is just American ways, digesting American and human ways. When he meets these Kryptonians, they're basically like when black people are like, I want to go back to Africa. It's like, okay, cool, but do you really know what part of Africa you want to go back to? It's like, nope. And he didn't really know what part of Krypton he was from too. He just knew that he had connections to these people from that were ancestral connections that had much different from him living in America. It's the same thing.
All right. So yeah, follow us on Twitter at @NeFo Marvel vs. DC. Put up all kinds of stuff like that.
And one more thing. That Lex Luthor was the worst Lex Luthor that's ever been portrayed in the movies.
There was no Lex Luthor in Man of Steel.
Didn't the plane crash? He had to get a gem, and didn't Lex get the gem from him?
There's no Lex Luthor in Man of Steel.
I feel like there's a Lex Luthor. It's still a horrible movie. I mean, a bad movie, not horrible, but just it wasn't right up there, dude.
Yeah, I don't know. There's no Lex Luthor, so I don't know what movie you're referring to. I should talk about Batman or Superman.
Yeah, I mean that's fine. Okay. No Bruce Wayne, but Bruce Wayne's upset with him because he killed some people that were his employees in the building.
Yes, that was retconned in Batman vs Superman. That was not in Man of Steel.
Right, let's not forget that though too.
Right, but that was in Batman vs Superman, two completely different movies.
So, DC, Justice League Immortal, dude. You should at least tried it.
All right, let's move on.
Should have tried it, guys.
One's got to go, and this one was actually inspired by our good friends JVD of the Villains Demand. This is going to be a quarantined edition of One's Got to Go.
My father said that they would never be able to trust me. That was terrible, dude. It was so bad.
So here's your One's Got to Go. Video games, TV, internet, comic books. And actually, instead of One's Got to Go, you can keep one, the other three have to go.
Now, what is internet, TV, video games,
comic books?
That's a good one.
Shout out to JVD of the Villains Demand. They also have a new episode of the Crossover Collision with Beast versus Blanca, which is a very intriguing matchup.
Video games, dude.
So you would keep video games and get rid of the internet. So you can't play your video games if you ain't got no TV.
The one's got to go is video games. You don't need them. We don't need them.
No, I said that you have to pick one. You keep one, and the other three are gone.
Keep one, and the other three are gone. That's easy. Then I would keep one, other three are gone. Internet.
So you don't have a TV.
You have monitors. You don't need a TV. You have monitors. iPads. What's the TV?
What are you gonna watch on it? You don't have no video games.
You don't care about video games. Comic books are you still have sci-fi books. You're fine. You're fine on that end. You still have animation. Video games or whatever. Yeah, internet. You still have information going. Before the internet was the first stage of the internet was this blue screen with type. And that's how people were sending information back and forth. So yeah, internet stays. Everything else can peace out.
Okay, one's got to go. One of these teams.
Oh, wait, hold on, sir. What would you pick?
I'd probably pick internet.
Okay.
One of these teams can never be formed, and everything that they've created together is never created.
Patriots.
The X-Men. Power Rangers. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. The Star Trek Enterprise.
Oh, please. Power Rangers, dude. Out.
Star Trek, gone.
Well, if there's no Star Trek, there's no anything, because Star Trek led to a lot of other stuff that for sci-fi TV shows and sci-fi movies.
I don't think Star Trek had anything to do with Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Power Rangers, or the X-Men. So those three things will still be there.
I don't know about that.
I know about Power Rangers.
Well, I can tell you Power Rangers are out, dude.
Well, that's because you were like 50 when they came on.
No, more like 54. But yeah, Power Rangers and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, done.
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles is a classic.
No, it's great, but like compared to the other four, it's like they don't hold a candle, man.
One of these four cartoons, you can keep one. The other three are gone forever. X-Men, the animated series. Batman, the animated series.
Just those two?
No, I haven't finished yet.
That was like a crazy dramatic pause. Good God.
Dragon Ball Z. And last but not least, Transformers.
Batman.
I got to take Dragon Ball Z.
That's fine. Batman led to Superman, which led to Justice League Unlimited, which led to everything. So yeah.
Yeah, I got to take Dragon Ball Z.
Yeah.
There's so much more content with Dragon Ball Z than with Batman.
There's so much what?
More content.
No, it's not.
The cartoon? That cartoon is twice as long as Batman the Animated Series.
I get. Well, here's my thing. You probably are right, but they fill it with such garbage. Like the last 10 minutes of every Dragon Ball Z show, and the first 10 minutes of every Dragon Ball Z show are just like, they're just overlapping to each other. So it's really like a weird 15-minute show.
That's true.
And then, yeah, to me, that's what I always hated about Dragon Ball Z. Is it's like the weird, like, oh, well, now these fights should be over with in 3 episodes, but they drag them off to 10 episodes. It's the worst to me form of like serial TV, like the old school black and white ones where they were like, stay tuned for next time when you will see this. It's like, whoa. So that's something that ever bummed me about Dragon Ball Z. Like everything else, Super Saiyan gods, all that stuff is weird and great. But yeah.
Okay.
In the scheme of things, yeah.
All right. And so now we're going to go on to our March Madness Massacre Tournament. We're going to start the round of 32. So in this round, we're going to have to try to convince each other to change each other's votes because we have.
This is going to go smoothly.
Yeah, this isn't going to work at all. Thor versus Sinestro. Who do you got moving on?
Thor.
We'll come back to that one.
Okay.
Low-Key versus Jon Stewart. Jon Stewart. Batman versus Mr. Fantastic Batman.
Damn. Batman too. Batman.
Let me ask no question.
Yeah.
Magneto and Dick Grayson. You already know where I'm going.
Magneto all the way.
All right, well, I'm going Dick Grayson.
Yeah, dude. I want Magneto and Dick Grayson to get in a fight. And Dick Grayson's like, I'm ready for you. I have all these plastiques. Batman's trained me for you. My suit's made out of high-grade ceramic and plastic. I have no metal on me. And Magneto's just like, go to sleep, Dick. The iron in your body, go to sleep.
And Thanos versus Dr. Doom.
What I love is on these matchups, you really get to see who the heavy hitters are versus oh, wow, yeah, dude, you wouldn't hold a candle, would you? Oh, say your thing again, I'm sorry.
Thanos versus Dr. Doom.
Now, this is a good one. You know, this is a good one? Because they actually had a battle when Dr. Doom got Miracle Man's God powers. And they actually had a fight in a battle, and Dr. Doom basically ripped out his skull. I'm going to go with Dr. Doom on this.
All right. Green Arrow and Wonder Woman.
I'm going to have to go with Wonder Woman on this.
All right. Mr. Terrific and Aquaman.
I'm going Mr. Terrific.
Okay. Captain America and Mystique.
Captain America.
All right.
Pages, man.
Spider-Man and Superman.
That's a good one. I'm going to go with Superman.
I go with Spider-Man. Lady Shiva, Wolverine. Lady Shiva. Invisible Woman, Deathstroke.
Invisible Woman.
Deathstroke. Franklin Richards, Professor X.
Dang.
Professor X.
Franklin Richards.
Okay. General Zod versus Black Panther.
Black Panther.
Okay. Cyborg versus Hela.
Cyborg. I don't even like Hela.
I go with Hela. Mr. Sinister versus Darkseid.
Mr. Sinister.
Okay. Storm versus Hulk.
Storm.
All right. Let's see. All right, so let's start over, and to make things interesting, we get one free pass apiece.
Okay. I don't know what that means, but sure.
So, well, that way, because we're not going to be able to agree on all of them. So there's
you should be a little more optimistic than that, you know?
Nah, I'm not. I'm realist. From
our earlier conversations, you definitely are not a realist.
We get one free bye. Like, we can pick one person to go to the next round without argument.
Okay.
Would you like to pick yours first?
Nope.
Well, you know who I'm picking, so I'm putting Dick Grayson through.
Well, but so does that mean that my person doesn't get through?
Yes.
See, that.
That's why I asked if you wanted to go first.
Okay, so the Dick Grayson versus Magneto, right?
Yeah, and I got Dick Grayson going through.
So that just means that Magneto just doesn't get a chance to go through.
Right.
Okay, well, good. All right, don't do your thing. Let's keep going.
All right, so now who do you want to use your freebie on?
I don't know yet. Let's figure out our list. Who else we need?
We need to figure out Thor and Sinestro.
I have Thor.
And I have Sinestro. What makes you choose Thor over Sinestro?
Again, he is the all-father Thor. The Olden Force gets replaced for a longer period of time by the Thor Force. He is a god, a hero. He can hold his beer, his mead. He's mythical. He's transcended Norse mythology to comic book mythology to movie mythology. So he's a powerhouse compared. And the anti-Sinestro is that he's a good villain, but there's nothing to him. He's just another person who wanted power and thinks he deserves power. I'm like, okay, Sinestro can get replaced with anybody.
Okay. I'll go with Thor. Green Arrow and Wonder Woman.
I'm going with Wonder Woman because she's the Trinity, dude. She's part of the Trinity. And she, like, even though people still don't know what to do with her in movies and comics, because they're scared, she, at the end of the day, is like the heir to the Amazons. The Amazons still, from mythology to here, another like Thor, have transcended mythology. They've transcended themselves. And you could go anywhere and you're like, damn, that girl looks like an Amazon. And people know what that means. You know what I'm saying? And so, like, I feel like Wonder Woman is part of that mythology, too. Like, people are like, God, that girl's a Wonder Woman. You know, like, when you say that girl's a woman, you're saying that person's a badass. So.
Yeah, I got Green Arrow. Too significant to TV. Just too important. And what other show live action has done as much as Green Arrow has done in the Arrowverse?
Oh, I don't know. See, that's just. You can say same thing about Wonder Woman too. It's a small base, but I get you. I get you, Vic. And Green Arrow was awesome. Was a great gateway for a lot of jumping on things that were for shows that were much better than his.
And I will always choose a human over an OP character.
Well, yeah, but then it's the human that's not realistic, you know. Like, I get it. He's a billionaire who's really good with an arrow, and no one knows who he is, although he has kept his goatee and mustache the same way for the last 30 years plus. But I get it, dude. I get it. Yeah, we'll come back. We'll come back to that one.
All right. So then we got. So we didn't agree on anything on this one. Spider-Man and Superman.
Superman just transcends a lot of stuff. Why did you pick Spider-Man?
I'm not a Superman fan.
Okay. Well, let's move on from that one too. That was too easy. That was too kind of like that's a hard one.
Lady Shiva and Wolverine.
Why do you want Lady Shiva?
She's the most underrated DC villain in all of DC.
I never consider her a villain. I just consider her just a person who just is neutral.
That's fine. But she would still. She's not somebody who's going to help. Batman's not going to call her and be like, "I need your help to fight."
Again, she's just neutral to me. Like she does things for her own reasons and stuff. But I get it. You know, I don't see. I always think of it if they made a TV show starring these people, like if they made a Spider-Man TV show, okay, I get it. Superman, yeah. If they made a Lady Shiva, I'm like, but who would she fight? What would the show be about?
She would fight the Monkey Fist.
She's the most underrated because she's the most still underdeveloped. Because they just say, oh, she's a woman who can fight. But I still don't know what her backstory is.
But that should be it. That should be all she is, though. And like that should be how she's built up.
Yeah, but I want to see. I like character development. I want to know more about what makes a person tick. All you know is that she can fight any style, but like how?
But like, I don't think all characters. See, I don't think all characters have to have this full backstory.
No, listen, all don't. But you gotta know something about her besides that she has trained people to fight. It makes her so shallow. That's all.
That's how she should. That's how her. Just her. That's how she should be. Like you shouldn't know a lot about her.
Right, but you will never develop her that way, though.
But what more? Like I don't think she needs to be anything more than just the best martial artist in the world.
Right, but then what? Again, where's the development? She'll forever just be a one-issue character in a series. They'll because there's nothing to do with her. She's there fighting someone good or someone bad. That's all you ever get. You don't get like, wow, what's the motivation? You know what I mean?
To be the best. And she doesn't fight anybody unless she feels like there's an opportunity for her to lose. Like that's what she looks for. That's what she strives for.
Yeah,
that's her. I mean, that would be if I were writing her story, that would be her thing. She would just be kind of this person who goes looking for someone who can push her, looking for almost like an adrenaline rush.
All right, and then what happens when someone beats her? I don't get it.
That's the end of season one. Boring. That's the end of season one.
That's
she gets her first loss. Because then you're like, wow, now what?
Yeah, if they did a Lady Shiva show, it would be like a 10-minute animated DC short. As in, like, you could do a series like she's like 6 episodes. She's fighting 6 different styles of fighting. And then the 6th one is she loses. But other than that, it's just like, all right. Well,
Lady Shiva could be DC's own anime. And you could even bring like, you could do a young Lady Shiva or something and have him fighting like, I don't know. You can have her losing fights as a young fighter and building herself up as Lady Shiva. Like, and you would know this before what's her real name?
I forget her.
Well, you see, so you can start the series off with her as that. She doesn't become Lady Shiva until the end. Like,
yeah, but then
that's whole and
right,
then you
but
get freedom.
again,
then you get freedom. You can choose how you want her story to play out.
I get it, but see, like, for me, I just don't know anything about her to develop her. I don't know where she comes from. And it's me, like picking now back to our thing. Our choices were Lady Shiva or who? Wolverine. Yeah, and I know people are like, oh, I'm tired. There's all these Wolverine. I said no, but when it comes to those two, as in like who has had the most development, who's had the most time to like you get a sense of who they are, and so it's just very simple. It's Wolverine to me.
Here's my problem with that. I'm more connected to Hugh Jackman than I am to Wolverine.
And here's my thing. I am definitely more connected to Wolverine than I am, because I knew Wolverine when he first fought the Hulk. I knew Wolverine from Weapon X. I knew Wolverine from the X-Men and the X-Men reboot and all this stuff. So I had a very deep understanding of Wolverine even before Hugh came along.
I mean, Hugh wasn't my first. Like, I had the X-Men animated series, and I had the X-Men vs. Hulk because you gave that to me. But once Hugh took the role, he became Wolverine. Like, regardless of whether he's comic book accurate or not, he is the embodiment of Wolverine live action.
Yeah, you know what? That's to you. I can. People were saying the same stuff about Christopher Bale, Christian Bale, everything. You can we as an audience, we can get over things like that. I'm not so convinced that there's not another person that
Were
can play
people
Wolverine.
saying that about Christian Bale?
Man,
I don't know if they were saying that about Christian
Michael
Bale.
Keaton. I'm a George Clooney person. They say that about every superhero.
I daggone sure know they didn't say that about George Clooney.
There'll never be another Christopher Reeves. I'm like, whatever, dude.
Well, there hasn't been another Christopher Reeves.
I
mean, Henry Cavill's great. You know how I feel about the Man of Steel
I
movie.
Henry Cavill is like one of the best Supermans that's been played.
But he's not Christopher. Like, they're both different. Like they play the role differently.
As in the same will happen when they choose another Wolverine.
But see, here's that's the reason. Like, there's going to be at least 10 years. I think there'll be at least another 5, 6, maybe even 10 years before we get another Wolverine. And the reason is because you can't, like, the way you're talking, and maybe you don't mean it as this, but the way you're talking about it, it's almost as if Hugh Jackman didn't crush the role. Like, he made that role his. And he did a great job with it.
Yeah. I'm just when we get back to Lady Shiva Wolverine, I'm going to pick Wolverine.
So is that going to be your push through?
We're just going to agree to disagree on that one. I mean, I don't. Lady Shiva is just she's just another. What does she bring to the table that Wolverine doesn't? Besides her being a female,
she's a human. I've already told you how I feel about that.
I know, it's just.
I've already told you how I feel about the humans versus the OP characters.
But all those humans, from Batman to Lady Shiva, the Green Arrow, they're not really human. There's no way no human can do that.
Why can't Lady Shiva be the best female or the best martial artist in the world?
Because Lady Shiva will never be able to, because Lady Shiva fights metahumans. Okay? Batman fights metahumans. Green Arrow fights metahumans. None of those people in real life would be able to take. And Green Arrow would never. There's no person that never misses a shot. I'm sorry. There's no person like Batman that's trained 125 different fighting styles. Okay, Lady Shiva. There's no one who's just spent their whole life just fighting and
we know of. I mean, let's keep. I mean, seriously, let's keep it 100 that we know of.
Right, and then there might be Bigfoot.
No. See, you trying to be funny, but how do you know that there isn't somebody who has spent their entire life just training? Like, how do you know that?
I don't know that, but I don't care either.
Well, see, now you're saying you don't care, but that doesn't mean that there isn't somebody who has spent their entire life saying, "I want to be the best fighter in the world."
I'm sure there's a lot of people that do that, but they wind up not being that.
But there is usually at least one who
there is no one. Sorry, there is no one in our real world that is equivalent to Lady Shiva. There's no one.
I'll give you that, but that doesn't mean there's no one who doesn't have the same mindset.
Don't care. There are people that dress up like Batman and fight crime, but they suck at it. I don't care. I'm talking about in real life. So just getting back to that. Let's move on.
Well, you not caring doesn't mean it doesn't apply. Invisible Woman and Deathstroke. Who do you have?
It's a moot point.
Okay, so let's move on. Invisible Woman and Deathstroke.
I like Invisible Woman. You like Deathstroke because he's a human. He's not a human.
You put words in my mouth, so you assume that's why I like him. Yeah. So that's wrong. Franklin Richards and Professor X.
Well, wait, hold on. Why do you like Deathstroke? We got to hear our argument out.
I like Deathstroke because he. From the stories I've read, I appreciate the fact that he doesn't really back down from anybody. Like when if he goes after Superman, Wonder Woman, when he had his run as kind of the God Killer, I kind of like his whole attitude about things. Like he's gonna figure out a way to get you. My favorite character is Dick Grayson. He's one of Dick Grayson's best rivals, so it's a natural pick for me to like Deathstroke. Invisible Woman's great. I think she's one of the most underrated female characters we have, but I don't like her more than I like Deathstroke.
Okay. We'll have to put it. We'll have to put some of these to the poll and see what they say.
Franklin Richards and Professor X. I'm not picking Franklin Richards over the comic equivalent of Martin Luther King.
I would rather wait. Well, you certainly picked you picked the comic equivalent of Malcolm X.
Yep, I did get rid of the equivalent of Malcolm X, so I'm not getting rid of Martin Luther King. I had to pick one of the two, and I chose Martin Luther King.
Yeah.
I chose the Elvis Presley of comics over the Malcolm X of comics.
Who, Dick Grayson?
Right.
Yeah, Dick Grayson is definitely a fried peanut butter jelly, overweight. Only thing black people can do for me is buy my records and shine my shoes. That is Dick Grayson. You're correct.
To a T.
That is him. Stealing the Dick Grayson, stealing songs from other people. Yeah, you're right. He is Elvis Presley. I will do this.
You can say all you want about him stealing songs, and everybody can't steal songs and become Elvis Presley. I hear you, but everybody can't do that. He's talented. He may have stole songs, but that doesn't take away from his talent. Like, everybody couldn't do what he did.
No one's saying that it takes away from him being talented, but he adulterated and stole black culture for his own ends. But there's no doubt. Wait, come out. And talent is awesome. I will not dispute his talent and his appeal for people, but I'm just saying what facts are. But a black man could not have his success because of the times. That's his fact. And Elvis stealing stuff and not thanking people when he steals stuff, that's a crime. But he is talented. He's a talented criminal. It's awesome. He's a talented racist too. You can do that. It's fine.
But other white people couldn't do what he did.
Yeah, listen to me. He is a talented criminal and talented racist. Yeah, I get it. That's awesome. He's a singing racist. Wow. I still don't. Hitler was an awesome speechwriter. Was an awesome orator. He still sucked balls. Okay. So, Elvis, amazing singer, great, like dancer, awesome. He still was a racist and still stole culture. So there you go. That's all.
Okay. Whatever you say.
Was he not a talented thief? Did he not appropriate other people's culture?
Okay. Cyborg and Hella.
That must mean yes. Thank you.
No, it means we're not going to have a conversation about Elvis Presley and whether he stole the culture, as you say. So we're just going to move on. Cyborg and Hella.
It's easy to not have a discussion, but it's good to have a discussion. You were with Hella. I'll go Hella.
Cyborg is just a manufactured black character.
Dude, wait, time out. We're moving on. I said Hella, so go for it. You don't need to give me your monologue about Cyclops. Oh wait, you said Cyborg?
Right.
Oh yeah, yeah.
All right, so let's go back to. Let's see if we have any. So we still have Green Arrow and Wonder Woman, and you're sticking with Wonder Woman.
Yeah, we should put that to a poll.
Well, we can't because we have to do the Sweet 16 as well.
Why can't? Okay.
And you still have to use your one goes through.
I want to use my. All right, wait. Who else was there?
And then we have Spider-Man, Superman, Lady Shiva, Wolverine, Invisible Woman, Deathstroke, and Franklin Richards and Professor X.
I'll take my Wolverine. I'll give you Deathstroke, and I'll give you Professor X.
Okay, so Deathstroke, you're using yours on Wolverine and Professor X. So we're down to 2. We got Superman, Spider-Man, Green Arrow, Wonder Woman.
Spider-Man's fine, and I'm not. I don't know. We got to figure something out because I'm not going with Green Arrow. Every incarnation of Green Arrow that I ever come across with, that's a alt version, he gets waxed. And
he is one of the most important characters in one of the greatest stories of all time.
What would that be?
And that would be The Dark Knight Returns.
Dude, The Dark Knight Returns. Come on, man. I would at least went with Kingdom Come.
Yeah, but The Dark Knight Returns, he gets to shoot that arrow so Bruce can whoop up on him.
That's not the most important thing.
That is one of the most important parts of the entire movie.
It is not. He's in 3 panels, man. That's from the comic book first, sir.
He's not in 3. He's in way more than 3 panels of the comic and in the movie.
Dude, he shoots the arrow with his one arm, and then he's in the cave.
That's impressive to begin with.
Yeah, I get it, dude. I get it, man. But
and he's a human.
But everything is he's always like a metahuman beats his arm
as he should though, because he's a human.
Yeah, I get it.
And the fact that he's still there, like that to me is a lot braver than Wonder Woman, who's this goddess, being like, "Oh, I'll go fight him." Of course you will.
Wonder Woman gets beat up and gets bloody too.
Yeah, but Wonder Woman knows that she can heal. She knows if she like breaks an arm, she's gonna get it healed in like an hour or 2.
Wonder Woman doesn't always like consider like, oh, I'm gonna be okay in this. Her actions, as she stated before, is to preserve peace and to be the ambassador of peace. Now listen, I get Green Arrow's awesome. I CW, woo, Black Lightning, all that stuff.
Nah, not Black Lightning. Why would you put Black Lightning in the conversation?
Because he's CW. He's part of the A. If it wasn't for Green Arrow, Black Lightning would not exist, correct?
Listen, I'm all about the culture, but Black Lightning isn't part of the culture.
Wait, hold on, wait. I'm sorry. I just asked a simple question. I was too busy talking louder than you. I'm sorry. I just said, if Green Arrow didn't exist, like we said earlier, Black Lightning wouldn't exist, correct? So he's responsible for for Black Lightning. It's fine. You gotta take the good with the bad, baby. He ain't just responsible for the Flash. He's responsible for Legends of Tomorrow and Black Lightning and Batgirl too, and Batwoman too.
Not Supergirl though.
Hey, Supergirl and Flash, man.
No, Supergirl was on CBS before it went to the Arrowverse. Whole different ballpark.
But he made it possible because of all the crossovers. Man, come on, man, give it up.
Man, I'm not trying to hear that. That was a CBS property. It had nothing to do with the Arrowverse. They wanted to be part of the Arrowverse.
Dude.
They weren't invited to they were not invited to the dance. They had to wait at the door until we ran out of space, and then we let them in.
They were at the prom, dude.
They were not at the prom. They were outside the prom until somebody else left the prom.
Son, no. They may have like transferred from another school.
They did not go to the prom.
Went to the prom.
They didn't go to the prom.
Dude, they transferred from the school and were voted prom queen by the way.
They didn't know.
They
were only voted prom queen because they were the only female.
Dude, they got transferred straight up to they were a military kid. They got transferred to a school they didn't know. They fit in just well, made it to be popular. Boom. Get out of here, dude. Get out of here.
All right.
We got to put that in a poll, man, because I'd be interested to see what people think between Green Arrow and Wonder Woman. I feel like Green Arrow will win, but just by a barely winning.
Why? So if we do that, if we put that on a poll, that means we can't do the Sweet 16 till next week, which means we're not going to finish this for another 3 weeks.
All right, go for it, dude. Hey, well then we'll have to leave Wonder Woman and Green Arrow open. Here, this is what should make things fair. You got to keep one. I got to keep one, and then there's one that we both just have to disagree.
We can't just both disagree on it because then who moves on? So what you're saying is Doctor Doom just gets a bye?
Oh no, not you, because you wait. You got you chose Thanos over Doctor Doom.
No, we both chose Doctor Doom.
Okay, so I'm saying
if Green Arrow or Wonder Woman, if we both disagree, and nobody moves on, that means Doctor Doom doesn't face anybody in the next round.
Okay.
We can do this.
Okay.
We both disagree, so we can take them both out and put somebody else brand new there.
No, I will go with Green Arrow if he has to face Doctor Doom.
Well, I'm still gonna pick Green Arrow in the next round.
That's cool. That's fine.
All right. Green Arrow. And we did it. We finally made it to the Sweet 16. So, our Sweet 16 looks like this. We have Thor versus Jon Stewart. Look at this matchup right here. Batman versus Dick Grayson.
Batman.
I can't wait to put that. Oh, man, I can't wait for that one. That one's definitely going to go to a Twitter poll.
Mm-hmm.
Doctor Doom versus Green Arrow. Mr. Terrific versus Captain America. That's an interesting one, actually.
And these are interesting.
Spider-Man versus Wolverine.
All of them are interesting.
Deathstroke, not this one. This one's not that interesting, but this one could be a lot of fun. Deathstroke versus Professor X.
Yeah.
Black Panther versus Hela.
Why is she in the mix of stuff, dude?
Hela's,
makes no sense.
Hela's way. I'll take Hela over Black Lightning and Cyborg. Hela's about to beat all the black characters.
Hold on. Do you know Hela from the comic books or just Hela from the movie?
Just Hela from the movie.
Okay, so Hela from the movie is totally different from Hela from the comic books. They're two very extremely different characters.
Okay, well, Hela from the movie would have destroyed Black Panther.
So in our whole thing, you're just basing your stuff off of like movies, basically.
It depends on the character and which one I'm more knowledgeable about.
When it comes to Green Arrow, you're basing it more off of the TV show than the comic book.
A little bit of both.
TV show is probably 70, comic book is 30.
So it's a little bit of both.
It's more geared towards a TV show, though.
But it's still both. Like I said this last week when we went over everything, that this is just who you personally want to move on. Right. And it could be for whatever reason.
Yeah, because Hela has been the most boringest comic book character. But keep going. I got my ideas. Go ahead.
So and at this point, Hela's just going to beat all the black characters. So I think I might keep that streak alive.
Okay.
She's already taken out Black Lightning. She just took out Cyborg, and now I'm gonna have her take out Black Panther, and then Mr. Sinister and Storm. We'll both agree on Storm, and then Hela could beat Storm.
I don't know why. Well, this is you thinking that. This is you going.
You're not gonna pick Mr. Sinister over Storm.
No, but this is you going. This is who I feel because, like, again, you're. Sometimes, regular Scott, you pick your characters off of their powers, and sometimes you pick your character off their popularity. And I'm trying to figure out what's the right angle. Because, like, Green Arrow versus Wonder Woman, that was obviously a popular play, not a power play.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, and so I get Hela versus whoever. It's not power. It's a pop. Then it turns into a power play, not a popularity play.
Well, no. Now it's at the point where it's like I could have her beat all the black characters.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Keep going.
No, that's it. That's our Sweet 16 matchup. So
let's get it.
All right. Let's go through it. Thor versus Jon Stewart. Thor. I'll go with Thor. Batman versus Dick Grayson. We already know we're going on
Batman.
that. Yep, we'll be disagreeing on that one. So that's a Twitter poll. Dr. Doom versus Green Arrow.
Dr. Doom.
That's a Twitter poll. Mr. Terrific versus Captain America.
Captain America.
I'll take Mr. Terrific. Captain America's going to win that one. Spider-Man and Wolverine. I'll take Spider-Man.
I'll take Wolverine.
Twitter poll. Deathstroke versus Professor X.
Professor X.
Okay. Storm versus Mr. Sinister.
Storm.
Like I said. And Black Panther versus Hela. That'll be a Twitter poll.
Black Panther.
Hela. All right. So, our Twitter polls for this week are going to be... Actually, I'm going to take Jon Stewart in this one, too. Are going to be Thor and Jon Stewart, Batman versus Dick Grayson, Dr. Doom versus Green Arrow, Mr. Terrific versus Captain America, Spider-Man. We only agreed on one of them. Actually, you know what? I'm just going to put the whole thing to a Twitter poll.
Yeah.
Spider-Man versus Wolverine, Deathstroke versus Professor X, Black Panther versus the White Hope, Hela, and Mr. Sinister versus Storm.
Ridiculous.
I didn't realize I did that until I just looked at it.
Yeah, you did it on purpose.
No, I didn't, because I really wasn't expecting Hela to get this far.
Yeah, I was, because I knew you were going to be contrary, so I was like, okay, sure.
I really wasn't. Well, you picked Hela to beat Black Lightning, so.
Well, I was just going off of like, yeah.
What were you going off of?
Black Lightning's character as a comic book and TV person, and including Young Justice, and I was going off of Hela as just like her comic book presence,
which you said was boring.
Well, but she's still like is like more compelling than Black Lightning to me.
And then you went with her over Cyborg.
Yeah, again.
So why are you surprised that she got this far?
Two of the most boring black characters that's ever existed.
So why did you go on this rant about why is she this far?
Because I'm just curious, like because you picked Hela in the first place.
Okay, and you picked her too.
Wait, hold on. No. You chose Hela in the first place to be in this contest. I was just picking Hela just off of who versus who. But you picked her based off the movies that were in there.
Right.
Yeah. So since the cards are dealt, but I just still think she's her, Black Lightning, Cyborg, they're all boring characters.
Well, she's about to beat Black Panther here too, so.
I'm gonna tell you right now, Hela will lose to Black Panther.
So I'm also going to put Storm and Mr. Sinister to a poll as well.
You should, because Storm will beat Mr. Sinister. Mr. Sinister, not Mr. Senator. But there are some sinister senators in the White House. I mean, in the government right now.
So the first Twitter polls will be posted Sunday afternoon after this show is posted. So right after this show, go ahead and hop on Twitter. Or should I wait till Monday?
No, you should do it Sunday.
All right, we'll do it Monday. Hop on Twitter and vote for our first two.
As a matter of fact, actually, you should do it on Monday. That's a good idea.
Okay. So we'll do our first two, which is Thor versus Jon Stewart and Batman versus Dick Grayson. I think that Dick Grayson Batman one is going to be
not close.
I think it's going to be closer than you think it is, because I think a lot of people are have a little bit of Batman fatigue. And Dick Grayson's got a bigger following on Twitter than you give it credit for.
Mm-hmm.
But we will. Those two are interesting. And then the following day we'll do Dr. Doom and Green Arrow, Mr. Terrific versus Cat, Spider-Man, Wolverine, Deathstroke, Professor X, Black Panther, Hela, Mr. Sinister, Storm. So those are that is our Sweet 16. We are there, right at the Elite 8. Coming up next week, maybe we'll get to a Final Four. I doubt it, but we'll see how it goes.
We might get to a Final Four.
I doubt it.
You want to tell people how to find us on Twitter and everything?
Already did. So let's get to our final blows.
Oh man, I miss all the good stuff.
Oz, what you got for the final blow?
Stay tuned to make sure you answer your Twitter polls and stay tuned. Lots of good stuff are coming up.
For my final blow, I wanted to give a shout out to the Earth 9 podcast at Earth 9 DC on Twitter. They had a promo video made for them by one of the guys that is a part of them and who works with them. Jim, his Twitter is at Last Son Jim, and he made this really cool promo video, and I hit him up, and he was kind enough to make me one as well. So I'm gonna post that on Twitter as well, and
that's awesome.
I'll put a link to him. So that's going to be my final blow. Just a shout out to Jim at Last Son Jim and the Earth 9 podcast. Appreciate you guys for making that happen. It's an awesome little logo. I've gotten a lot of love for it. So, yeah, that's my final blow. So, Oz, tell everyone we'll talk to them next time.
As usual, everyone, peace and chicken grease.
And y'all have a good time because we're going to have a good time until we talk to y'all next time. Peace.
What you doing on a Sunday?
Yo, what up, my people? This is J.R. Glent from Defy Life. If you're looking for an in-depth, honest, at times hilarious conversation on anything from current events to sports to entertainment and more, check out myself, Alvin, Thomas, Gerald, and Yosh on the Defy Life podcast. Dropping every Wednesday, available at GoDefyLife.com and everywhere your favorite podcasts are available. And as always, if you're not rocking with Defy Life, what's your life about?
Got to pay the price. We make winning look easy. Welcome to Defy Life.